having at least a pinky in there, just partly due to just the improved quality of our ToeSpacers. They're a lot more comfortable than they had been in the past. So here are the BioCleats. This is a new prototype. I only have the right for this one. And before I even put them on, I'm going to show you our Metpad setup. So a Metpad is it's short for metatarsal pad, and it's a little device that can kind of help activate your arch and get your foot engaged when you're moving, which aligns with our whole kind of goal of strengthening your feet. And we really believe that that's kind of the foundation of your athletic movement. And so if your feet aren't strong, if your feet aren't activated when you're playing, when you're doing your sport, then you're going to end up having other problems up the kinetic chain. You're going to have knee, hip, back problems. So for people who haven't done much barefoot training, Metpads are really good at getting your arch engaged. So we have 5 different levels of Metpads, different thicknesses, and today I'm going to use the size 4s. The thicker you go, the more it will sort of engage your arch, and if you're not really used to it, it can be a little tiring. So it's nice to have the option to kind of switch out different levels based on just how your feet are feeling that day, or if you're doing training or a game, you can kind of fine-tune it to your level. So I just put that one in. That's the level 4. I can show you how it just pops in. There's a little flange here, and you just kind of slide it in the bottom, and then you kind of just open up the flange, get it worked around the edge. There you go. All right, so I got my level 4 Metpads in. I'm gonna put these insoles back in, and then let's kind of go over where the BioCleats are at, what we've been working on. So one of the most difficult aspects of making a custom fit minimalist soccer cleat has been the bottoms, and having enough durability but also enough stiffness to give you performance. So we actually had an issue with the supplier. We had a material that we were pretty happy with, but the supplier no longer is making that material, so we've had to kind of adjust and try out some new stuff. And so this material was pretty good in terms of its performance, flexibility, but we're having some durability issues where the studs have been wearing down fairly quickly. Just have about 30 hours of play in them. So this next prototype, we are trying out a new material that is more durable but a little more flexible. So when you have a really flexible cleat plate like this, it's going to put more strain on your feet. Your feet are going to have to do more of the work when you're cutting, when you're just running, everything. Your feet are going to be kind of more engaged. So there's an actual plate underneath this that we can control the thickness of to give it added rigidity. So everything in our system is meant to be like modular and fine-tuned to your level of foot strength and kind of how far along you are developing your strength back into your feet. So when you order BioCleats, we try and take in as much information about what you've been wearing and what level you're at, and we will adjust that stiffness through here. So based on my first test with these, they're fairly flexible, and my feet were definitely more tired after playing than in these guys. So along with that, we also have the width of the ToeBox, which can get sort of adjusted based on what level you're at. If you have kind of really squished together toes, we might narrow it a little bit so it's not such an extreme change for you going into like a more minimalist cleat. Besides that, one of the other issues with this BioCleat was when I'm flexing here, you can see that it's creating a hot spot on the upper. So obviously we're, custom fit, and we want to have a really comfortable experience for the user. So we've been trying out some different setups through that upper zone, kind of breaking it up into a more natural flex. And this one's definitely better, but I think there's even more improvements that could be made to have kind of a softer upper. Let's see, we have this external heel counter that is really stiff, that really holds you in when you're shooting and passing. One thing that we've been trying to achieve is having an experience with a minimalist soccer cleat where you don't really have a drop off in performance. So it's really important when you are taking a step and your plant foot is kind of the point from which you're kicking, that it's not shifting around. We've had other cleats where without enough stiffness through the heel, you get a little bit of slippage, and that can compromise your performance. So this heel counter is a really important piece. We have kind of a minimal stud pattern on the bottom, trying to match up to your pressure points, to your toes. It just gives a better flexibility through the forefoot, so it really acts as a minimalist kind of barefoot sensation when you're cutting, when you're moving. In terms of weight, now these are at about 9.7 ounces, which is on the heavier end, I would say, of high-end cleats. But you have to keep in mind that because of our toe box being so wide, it's actually pretty good. And it's something we're always trying to shave off a little bit here, a little bit there. So even on these ones, you know, these were 10.3 ounces. So we've already shaved off, you know, 0.6 ounces just from one pair to the next. And I think we'll continue to improve that and, you know, take out weight where we can without compromising durability. There's kind of a balance there. Also working on the tongue. We really like the central tongue, like kind of longer throat, because it allows you to kind of tighten up in multiple regions and have an even better fit through the midfoot. We're kind of playing with whether or not we want this all connected or a floating tongue. So if you have any opinion on that, definitely leave a comment. We're trying to kind of give the best features without compromising on performance, so would love to hear what you think about that. This shoe has like a full internal suede liner, and that makes it comfortable to the touch, but we did notice that it isn't wicking sweat as well as we'd like. So we changed over to having a printed foam liner that you can see that green on the inside, and it has these coring out holes, and the breathability on these has been excellent. You know, I think that a lot of cleats don't have kind of this space between you and the shoe through the midfoot and through the toe box, and so you could get very sweaty throughout a game. When I took these off after my first time playing in them, there was no sweat, especially in kind of the midfoot and the forefoot. So I think that this does a really good job of breathability. Yeah, I think if you play in hotter temperatures, these definitely are going to play well. You know, I want to mention on the midsole, we have this texturing, and it looks sort of aggressive, but this foam is actually fairly soft to the touch. So it's soft enough that it doesn't create hot spots, but it really holds you in place. I've been wearing grip socks for a long time in my traditional cleats to give me that like lockdown, right, you know, not gonna slip along the insole at all. Now these, I can wear normal socks without, you know, the grip element, and I'm just really locked down. So I would say that if you are used to wearing grip socks, you might want to switch back to your old socks, because with the grip plus this, it ends up being a little too much grip, I would say, and that's when I had a little bit of hot spot issues. So I think that these are really ideal for just a normal soccer sock. My ToeSpacer setup here. And one thing, when you put on your socks, you definitely want to make sure that this side of the strap doesn't roll up. That can be kind of an issue if you're not careful. So I would recommend, you know, taking your sock, rolling it all the way up, and kind of easing it over without putting too much pressure on that outside strap. So this tongue is an external tongue, which I feel like gives a really great added grip element to your striking surface. And we even have sort of a a recess in the tongue where the lace can sit in. So I'll show you when it's laced up, but it's also floating in a sense. So it's an external tongue that's not fully attached on the top, which allows it a lot easier entry, versus this one is a tongue that's connected through the throat, not opening as much. It is a little bit harder to get on, but it is less material, so it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what people think about that system, if they really are annoyed by the fact that most cleats now have that high collar, which, you know, makes it pretty difficult to get on. For our cleats, I do think there's a bit of a trick to getting on a shoe that has a connected tongue that doesn't allow that easy opening. So if you just push down the heel and then slide your foot, push down the heel, slide your foot all the way in, and then come back around and pop out the heel. That's been the easiest way to get the shoes on for me. This, the laces kind of sit in these grooves, and you actually get a really clean striking surface there. So that's one option. That's something that we have liked, but you know, it does add a little more bulk. It also takes this kind of bottom of the tongue area and makes it a little less flexible. So there's some trade-offs. So our ToeSpacers and Metpads come with the box, a little travel box. Got your name on it there. That's me. Code logo. Yeah, definitely convenient because there's a lot of different parts there, and it's easy to lose them. So you get the box, you get the ToeSpacers and the Metpads. If you buy the cleats, we include all of that. We think it's a really important aspect of our product to have kind of all that stuff. All right, let's get into it. Let's get some touches, do a little sled pull. Shout out to Ben Patrick, knees over toes guy. A lot of his exercises are great for sort of bulletproofing your joints, making you more injury resistant. He also, I think, is a big fan of foot strengthening, and so yeah, I like to incorporate some of his movements into my training. I think that it helps a lot in terms of taking pressure off my knees, just making my knees stronger. So yeah, shout out to him, and let's get going. Gotta say, my arches are feeling it. Yesterday, played like 90-minute short side with the level 5 Metpad. And yeah, in this new right shoe, which is a little more flexible, definitely getting a lot of arch engagement. And playing the day after, I'm just like, whew, that is definitely sore. In a good way, like, feels like musculature, you know, that's been worked. And so I'm glad I put in the level 4. Maybe could have even gone to level 3 just to allow it to be able to relax a little more. But yeah, those sled drags are great for engaging your arch, for getting you into some flexion in your toes, engaging your foot. All right, on to some skill training. Don't forget sunscreen. isn't a great wall around here. It's padded, so we'll be shooting on the goal. Touch on BioCleats feels very familiar to like a synthetic, like Adidas or Nike. It is TPU, so it's got grip. Doesn't seem to be an issue in rain. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like, say it's kind of middle of the road in terms of grip, and I think that's a perfect spot because too much grippiness, the ball gets kind of stuck on your foot, not enough, and it's just gonna slide off. Cut that out. Gotta get closer, get some free kicks in here. So I mentioned I played yesterday and my legs are kind of shot. Basically missed every single shot that I took, nothing good. And just now I almost hit 2 bangers, both off the post. And discipline equals freedom. That was a good goal. Good goal. That was sick. Okay. Left foot free kick, top left. Haven't hit it all day. Yeah. Oh. Under the wall, under the wall. So we know what's gonna happen this time, right? Beep. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to another BioCleat update. And you know, thanks to all the people who are pre-ordering or testing for us. So we've got another left shoe to print here. I'm gonna try out a few new things there, just little adjustments to try and get the forefoot hot spot solved, along with you know, finding our final tongue situation. Once that's done and tested for a week, you know, that'll probably happen this week and this weekend, then we'll start shipping out our next tester pairs. We have about 5 or 6 cleat testers, a lot of different sports: football, lacrosse, ultimate frisbee, rugby. So we're gonna get some feedback from people who play different sports and incorporate that into the design. Once we've kind of gone through that, that'll probably take a month or two. We'll start shipping out our pre-order BioCleats. So I think that we're looking like December for our pre-orders, but things always happen. So we'll keep you posted. We'll let you know what the timeline looks like. Yeah, we're really excited to get you some cleats that are healthier for your body and help you along your journey of strengthening your feet and becoming a better athlete. All right guys, this is Oliver signing out. Have a good one. See ya.